Hello yet again, and welcome back to the Sam Idle Podcast. It's good to be with you here as always. And this is the first podcast I've done, I believe, since our early access launch. And I wanted to kind of give an update on how that's going for those of you that are interested and following. I know some of you are interested kind of in the business side of things that I'm trying to do, and others of you are more interested in the visualization. Either way, I hope this will be interesting and informative. One side note is, we've been working for about 8 years. We've been working towards building a house. We identified where we wanted to build it. We acquired the land, and we just broke ground last week. And it's some land that my parents had. It's like right where I grew up. And some people are, kind of teasing us like, "Oh wow, you're doing this. You're knocking down this hill and building this house." But, we really have been working towards this for a very long time, my wife and I. And we hope to be in a house next year if things go well. There are a lot of factors involved, if you can imagine. Things like the price of our current home, the economy, how well does this hill knock down? My father-in-law is a grading contractor, and so he is, right as we speak, knocking down the hill. And it's just a big chunk of rock. It's like 15,000 cubic yards of rock that he's knocking out with this big bulldozer. And if we get a good pad, then we're going to finalize our plans and hopefully get some quotes and get a builder and get going on that. And so that's just like, I don't know, it's a literal and figurative place I've been trying to go for a long time. And it's been a motivating factor for me. And so if we can really get there, then it'd be a huge step for us. And we love where we live. This is just like live a mile away from where this house is going to be. We live our current home, but it's not our forever home, and it never has been. This new place, it's on 25 acres. It's by where my brother lives. It's going to give hopefully room for our kids to play and explore, and it's just a big chunk of desert rock. So most people wouldn't be interested in 25 unusable acres of desert rock, but it's, I guess, it's our vision and our hopes and dreams. So I'm not sure why I went down that tangent, but it's been cool to see that there. We go there almost every day just to see the progress. And the other day we went and there was a sunset, and there's 15-20 feet of hill that's now cut out, and that's going to be 50 feet eventually. There's going to be like a 50-foot cliff once it's all cut out. And we saw the sunset that never had been seen before. Like that sunset didn't exist a week ago, and that was just really cool. That's we're trying to do this in a way where it's a good, stable place for our family, that we can entertain and host friends and bring people into our home and have a beautiful view and a beautiful backyard. And we hope all those things become a reality here in 2022. So that's happening, and it's also happening alongside this launch of Beyond Cat Early Access. And the launch has been, it's been slow, and it's, I don't know what I fully expected with the launch, but whatever I expected, I think I was wrong, because I underestimated how hard it is to onboard people. I mean, this is a process that software developers have known for a long time, and they have dedicated individuals and teams that do this. And I guess I thought people were just going to go and sign up and be off and running, but there's just a lot more into that. There's a lot more involved in that process, and I've kind of become the customer success person, which I should be. And I'm getting on Zoom calls with people, both those that have subscribed and those that are interested. And that's the process that's working to getting people on there. So I've just created some more content. I'm calling it the Easy as 1, 2, 3 campaign. And it's just a series of videos. The first one is how you download and install. The second one is how do you navigate and start adding traffic and building a scene. And the third one is how do you import your own project data. And those things are all designed to round off some of the friction that I've seen in this onboarding process, so that hopefully we can someday scale it. And this early access that we're doing, it's working exactly the way I wanted it to, which is let's do all this at small scale. Let's solve the problems, figure out what people like, what they don't like. Let's Let me work with them one-on-one and hopefully build a system where we can scale that in the coming months when we go to full public access. And so hopefully this week, we're good as I get this easy as 1-2-3 campaign rolling out and getting the word out about that. Hopefully there will be a new inflection point of people more easily able to figure out Beyond CAD and get it on their own. And then as we get some of these key features we're working on, and even better with our content and marketing and onboarding by January, then it will just be a new inflection point where Beyond CAD will hopefully take off. And I do believe with this software that there will be a certain inflection point where it takes off into a life of its own, where I don't have to be posting updates on LinkedIn and hoping that drives traffic, but that there will be a saturation point where we'll have enough users, especially the early adopters and super users, that they'll be sharing and they'll be giving the word, and it will grow organically. Because I think about some of the software that I've used, rarely was it like, okay, I saw this commercial or I heard from the founder and then that led me to it. No, usually it was a current user, a satisfied, happy user told me about it. And that's when I tried it out, and then I became a satisfied user, and then I told other people about it. And I think that's what I'm hoping for, and I hope that we can get that, in 2022 at some point, because we're still not profitable, and we're quite a ways away from that. And I knew that would happen, and we're prepared for that, hopefully. But I do, obviously, sooner rather than later, I would like to get to that, at least the inflection point where we're moving rapidly towards profitability, because right now we're still it's a one-by-one onboarding process, and it's really hard to scale at this point. So Beyond CAD's moving along. You may be wondering why I haven't been saying the word vision. Early on, I probably realized it was beforehand, but just how slow and clunky our launch was. At least it felt that way to me. I probably didn't look that way from the outside, but I just rethought a lot of things, and I was just like, okay, what do I want this to be? What do I hope this is in the future? And one of the things I realized, as painful as it was, the vision was it was unnecessary. It was a name that we came up with over 2 years ago when it was CivilFX. CivilFX vision made sense because CivilFX was providing client services, vision was the software, and we moved forward with that. But then I sold CivilFX, and I started Beyond CAD, and vision was just kind of tacked on, but it wasn't. It never fit because, at least with CivilFX, you had the word civil in there, and so it was like, okay, the vision of civil projects. But now with Beyond CAD, vision just never even fit, and so people are always confused. Is the name Beyond CAD? Is it vision? And it was just like two different brands. And Beyond CAD has always been the LLC ever since I sold CivilFX and started this new business. But vision it didn't really make sense, and it was unnecessary. So I spent several weeks dropping that, which included, all of the copy on my website, the product. So now when you use Beyond CAD, we removed the logo and the word vision, hopefully pretty much everywhere. And I actually like the Beyond CAD logo better. It's probably the favorite logo I've ever made. When you really see it and you get it, it's powerful. There is just deep meaning in that logo, and it looks good aesthetically. And that's always my goal. I spent a lot of time making that. I spent a lot of time on the vision logo too, and I like that. But the Beyond CAD was kind of an iteration, and it was even deeper. It really hit. And so I'm so proud that that's our product. The Beyond CAD is our product. And I would have loved to have the word civil in there, and or infrastructure or something like that. And I tried. I thought through a lot of names. But one thing I actually did was I made a poll and had close friends and family. I had them say, okay, which name do you like? And I had a whole list of names that they could have used, or that I kind of thought through, Envisure, combining words with visualization and infrastructure. And I thought that they were pretty clever names, and I thought I could get the domain and all this stuff. And so I had a list of 5 or 6 of these names, and then Beyond CAD, just drop vision, just Beyond CAD. And far and above, everyone's just Beyond CAD's the best name. Don't even think twice about that. And this was a blind test. They couldn't see what other people were voting on. These were different groups. Like some of them were business friends, some of them were siblings, some of them were Beyond Cat staff. They didn't know who else was contributing, and everyone just said, just drop that name, just go with Beyond Cat. And so while it's not a perfect name, I love it. And I'm really excited about where it's going. And I was talking to someone the other day, and they were like, Beyond Cat, like that's really cool. That's a really cool name, you know. And you think about it, and it is like we are bringing stuff beyond Cat, and now it's going to be kind of the Beyond brand, you know, like our typical section creator. I'm going to call it Beyond Typicals, and that makes sense. Like it really does. And you know, the simulator stuff we've done with the distracted driving simulator, I thought about pushing more into that, and that would be like Beyond Simulator or something like that. So I'm excited about where that's going. There's going to be some confusion and some loss of momentum through that, but I don't care because the long-term gains are going to be so much more than whatever short-term friction there is. And that's the mindset we keep most of the time is, you know, what's best long-term. I mean, that's almost always the question I ask my developers when they come to me with, you know, option A or option B. I'm like, okay, what's the best option long-term? And, you know, there are concerns about things like money, but it's like, we'll figure that stuff out. We'll figure out a way to fund this. Like, this is going to be successful someday. And I'm going to be stubborn enough to wait around until it is successful. And there may be a time when investors and things like that need to come along to get us there. But right now, I'm hopeful that I can do it on my own and for whatever that's worth. And I'm aware that I am sometimes in the way. I'm in the way because I don't have as deep of pockets as investors. And I'm also in the way just because I don't know what I'm doing in my personality. And I think sometimes the software is only going as far as my personality will take it. And that's limiting. So I understand the limitations, but I still feel like this organic development that we're doing, which is one step at a time, one user at a time, not just like pour gasoline on the fire. I think this organic growth is going to lead to something truly special and truly powerful in a way that just a ton of money wouldn't. I think it wouldn't feel organic. It would feel synthetic, I think, if we went down that other road. So while adoption has been slow and it's a one-by-one process to get people on board and become users and subscribers of Beyond Cat, we are in double digits now. And I've never believed more in what we're doing. And I truly believe that. The features that we're building out, my development team, the feedback that we're getting from our users and our potential users, like all of those are signals to me that this is going to be something at least that can support my family, which is like the bare minimum goal. But like, I think it's going to be way more than that. I think it's going to help a lot of people communicate their projects in ways that they've never been able to before, more affordably, and possibly even start changing an industry. And I've been working towards that for now over 2 years, and I'm excited about that. So I'm excited about where we're going. The road to profitability is there if we can get if we can get an easier onboarding process, I feel like. And once we get that process and it's proven, it's like, okay, people will download the free trial, they'll access our content, they will subscribe, and they'll do it all without me doing Zoom calls with them, then we can start pouring our own small amounts of gasoline on the fire and doing advertising and getting people on board. And I love the Zoom calls. I love talking to users, but it's just not scalable. I can't do that if I want to get hundreds of users someday and maybe even thousands. I can't talk to every single potential user. It's just not scalable. So that's where we are going. If you are interested in hearing more about Beyond Cat and what we're doing, I invite you to register for a webinar that we're doing, a live stream that is next Tuesday, the 19th of October. That's at 10 a.m. Pacific time. That's going to be a YouTube live stream. And I'm going to talk about all the features that we've been adding and what's upcoming and kind of giving an update to the current and future users of Beyond Cat. So please register for that. I'll put in the show notes of this, but also you can go to beyondcat.com and learn more about that. If you're interested in what I'm doing and you just want to connect or you need like help or advice on your own business or SaaS product, email me, sam@beyondcat.com, and I'll try to help you however I can Just remember, like, I don't know what I'm doing, so take everything I'm doing with a grain of salt. Hopefully in a year or two, I'll know a lot more, and I know a lot more now than I did a year or two ago. So we're moving along, and I think we're going to make it. I think we're going to find profitability before we run out of money, and if not, we'll find some other way to fund this project, because beyond CAD, I'm going to be very stubborn about this product making a difference in the infrastructure world, whether the infrastructure world wants it or not. So, all right. Well, thank you, and I will talk to you in the next episode.